welcome to Beyond the Pour. I'm Nilu, your sommelier host. We're talking all things hospitality, and my guest today is Madelyn Hille. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah,
Hilly?
Hilly. It's good.
Hilly,
Yeah,
Hilly,
yeah,
that's it.
absolutely. You got
Welcome,
it.
Madeline. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so good. Thank you for having me. It's a
I'm
pleasure.
so happy to have you as a guest and to hear your story. I'm even more excited that I got to meet you and taste some of your wine. So it's incredible. So lots to talk about, but love to hear a little bit from you. If you could introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. I'm Madeline, winemaker, founder of Schema Wines. I've just launched my first independent label of my own wines this year. This is Vintage 3, which I'm kind of in the middle of right now.
Yeah.
But I have released two wines, one from 23 and one from 24 so far. So yeah, it's been a fun ride and a great start so far.
So when you said I'm the founder and owner of a schema,
Yes.
I guess did I say that right? Schema? The
Yes, you've got
the
Schema.
first question is what a cool name, but where did you come up with that name?
Yeah, it kind of started as like an inside joke between friends, to be honest. I'm originally from the Midwest, so winemaking wasn't really like a path that I saw myself on from a young age. I didn't grow up in a winemaking family or anything, so I kind of discovered wine in my mid 20s. And I worked a harvest in New Zealand. I'd found wine. I kind of knew I was interested in it and wanted to learn more. And I went and worked a harvest in New Zealand. I went back to the Midwest, to Indianapolis to be specific. And I knew I wanted to be a winemaker, but I really didn't know like how you approach that. So I've always kind of been a list person. So I started writing things down and kind of researching what exactly you need in order to be a winemaker, like looking at job postings and seeing what you needed. So I started these full of plans, and my friends would say, "You're always scheming, you're always up to something." But then joke kind of evolved into something bigger. In psych, we all have our own schemas and like perceptions of what we think of things. And as a winemaker and a wine drinker in the beginning, thinking of California wine, I was thinking of, you know, big, bold Napa cabs and stuff like that. But if we break out of our own schemas, our own perceptions and preconceived notions,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of opens up a whole new world. So that's kind of what my goal was there.
I love it. And you just said
Thank
so many
you.
things here. Beginning part, I guess that's interesting for me, coming from the Midwest. Were
Yeah.
you drinking wine? Were you in a family that was drinking wine? Or were you around it?
Have wine. I grew up
Yeah.
in a household where I was allowed to have wine after church on Sundays.
Okay.
And I knew how to make my dad a gin martini from a very young age.
There you go. That's getting closer to the wine world.
For sure.
One sip
But
at a time, as I say. Yes.
yes, exactly, exactly. So I was definitely exposed to wine, but it was very much like Carlo Rossi, like jugged wine. What
Yeah.
was called Burgundy in the cupboard was kind of, you know, that jug that my dad would have a little
Yes.
glass of. So it was very humble wine drinking. It wasn't what we think of when we're like wine drinking family for sure.
Yeah. Well, but what got you interested in it? I know you went to New Zealand, you said for
Yeah.
harvest. What got you excited about going there even? Because I have to say, in this short amount of time, what you've done with your label is incredible. What got
Thank
you
you.
excited to go there?
Well, I will say that it probably had a lot to do with a very slow roll of my background. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was younger. I worked in diners from the time that I was a teenager. In fact,
Mhm.
all of my siblings, I'm the youngest of five, we worked the same diner at different times. So
Oh
I grew
my
up around
gosh.
food a
Yeah.
lot, and agriculture because my family's a farming family. But I was a bartender in college, and I didn't have a lot of direction as far as to where I wanted to go. But I'd really learned how to make cocktails, and I'd worked my way up in a very nice, like, hotel cocktail bar with a new program and stuff. And I had a lot of really nice training there, but it was really learning the balance of sugar and acid in cocktails, and then
Yeah.
wondering how wine was made in the same kind of regard. So it was
Right.
that search of balance that kind of intrigued me, when it came to wine. And I will say, I did have people beforehand that had told me that they thought I would be good working in wine, but I was a little bit intimidated because I just didn't know much about it. So it was really coming at it from the back end of how do you make it that really got me into it.
Yeah. So curiosity to a certain extent, when you were playing with those cocktails, you're like, I wonder what it takes to make that wine as well.
Yeah.
And you have an Aligoté and you
Yes.
have the two varietals, Aligoté and a Cabernet Franc.
Yes.
And they're very much not your Napa style wine.
That's right.
I don't think I can even say they're Sonoma County style wine. They're very much old world. Do you agree with that?
I love hearing you say that.
I tried both of them. I opened
Good.
both bottles.
I'm
Yeah.
really happy to hear you say that. Yeah, that was my goal with the winemaking, to show that you can make more of a European style wine in the United States,
Love it.
despite what we think of, the wines being here because of the climate. Because as much as climate does play a role, it's also the style of winemaking at the same time, and the choices that you make before then that dictate that style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I know the story that you told me that Madeline Paquette had
Yeah, yeah.
who's the owner of Wine Follies. Everybody probably knows her that's listening right now. And she had blind tasted your wine in Tiburon in a like a wine shop thing and said, "Damn, this is good, right?" Or what did she say? She was like, "This is unreal."
I think she blinded it and thought it was Loire, which
Yeah,
was
Laura. Yeah,
incredible. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So that
And,
was, huge, definitely a
and then
huge
she
thing.
reached out to you. Didn't she reach out?
Well, I reached out to her afterwards. I happened to
Yeah.
have met her when working at another winery before,
Oh wow.
and
Yeah.
I don't think she put it together that it was my wine. But I actually had a friend who saw it on her Instagram story who sent it to
Yeah.
me. I hadn't seen it firsthand until someone else
Yeah.
told me. So
Well, not too shabby, right? To have
yeah,
her say that that tasted like war, and you really are going for that style, and you've knocked it right on, you've got it right there. Now, what it what is your what does the future look like for Schema? And also, I want to add on the fact that you've got your wine right now in two really great restaurants, which I'd love you to tell us about.
yeah. You're referring to A16, which just also opened a location in Napa. Their original being, in San Francisco. They have the Aligoté by the glass, and then Enclos in Sonoma, which is a newer restaurant. But they, within their first year of being open, have gotten two Michelin stars. So
Incredible.
pretty amazing to have my first wines in those spots. So yeah.
I have to ask, how did you A16 is wonderful. I was just there a few days ago. I think when we talked first, I told you I think we have
Cool.
a reservation with one of my friends and
Yeah.
lovely. But how did you get your wine into Enclos? And did you know somebody? Did you just take the wine over there? What did you do?
Well, I had met their wine buyer, Ian, before while I was working in sales for another company for a
Gotcha.
broker. Yeah, so I
Okay.
was doing kind of
Yeah.
consulting and sales for some places, for some wineries, that is. And the buyer and I just kind of bonded over a certain style of wine that we both enjoyed. And then we didn't talk for a while, but I told him that I was making wine.
Yeah.
And then once it was ready, I just texted him and asked him if he wanted to try it, and he liked it enough to put it on the list. So, really amazing stuff.
And I don't know where I put the Sonoma magazine. I don't know if you've got it with you, but you are in this last issue of the Sonoma
Yeah.
magazine. Congratulations, which is
Thank you.
absolutely incredible with some other young winemakers. I mean,
Yeah.
this is my next question for you. We, are going through a little bit of a rough patch, Sonoma County, Napa Valley with wine sales and stuff. What made you say, okay, yes, this is my passion, but this is still a good time to start a label? What made you move forward with that?
Well, to an extent, I already had the ball rolling. So it wasn't something that I was just gonna, throw to the side because people aren't drinking as much wine. But I mean, if you knew my personality more, you would also know that like a challenge like that isn't something that would deter me. Um, and I do think that I've benefited from this time of being the winemaker of my own label, because there's
Right.
a lot of wine out there, and it may not be produced by someone who's thought about the style of wine that they want to make and then gone through and executed it, being dictated by how you want it to be made
Right.
exactly. So I think that has helped me quite a bit. But I know the state of the industry, it's like there's always going to be something to hold you
Yes.
back. So
Yes.
and really loving it is really what's gonna be able to get me through, I think. So yeah.
So true. And just having a passion for it and not really thinking about everything else. Honestly, I like having my own business. I feel like I have to put my blinders on a lot of times and just go
Yes.
straight forward and not think about the other things that are happening.
Yeah.
There's a million other people doing what I'm doing, but sometimes we gotta just go for it. And I
Yeah.
think this is what's so cool about your your generation of young winemakers that right now are coming out is super exciting to
Yeah.
watch and try their wine. Now, what trends in wine excite you right now? And what do you wish the industry would move away from?
Hmm. As far as trends go, I try not to think about trends that often, I
Good.
guess.
Yeah,
Wine is something that's been around for such a long time that trends come and go. But if you're looking at quality and thinking about what kind of wine you want to make and sticking to that, I think that's more powerful than any trend. Um,
excellent answer. Yeah, I love that. No,
yeah,
honestly, that's what it is. It's like you have to stay away from the trends. But some people like to go with the trends, and that's their style of making their wine or whatever. So I always like
right.
to ask that question. I love what you just said. And I wonder if you could pour one of your wines for anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
I'm sorry, Nila, the screen
You
froze a
can't
little
hear
bit.
me? Sorry about
I
that.
can hear you
Uh,
now. Could
okay.
you repeat it though? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is one of those goofy questions, but I love to ask.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
if you could pour your wine for anyone in the world, who would it be? And I guess why is the next part.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I feel like my answer is probably more sentimental than it is about someone. I think she's passed now, but I would love for my
Hmm.
grandma to taste my wine. Uh,
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. I love that. Honestly. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I was very close with my grandma and I was like, I wish she could sit here and and listen to what I've accomplished and just
Yeah.
see what she thinks, you know. So
Yeah.
what would you pour for her? You pour both of those
Yeah,
wines?
I'd pour both of them, and it wouldn't really matter what the wine was, but that she saw me and was able to taste it. She was the matriarch of the family on my dad's side, and
Yeah.
she and my grandpa owned the farm that I grew up on. So
Oh,
talking to her before she passed about winemaking, she like was really excited about it for me. And it was funny because she was 97 when she passed, and she grew up in the depression and everything. And when I got into winemaking, she told me, "Oh, my dad was a winemaker." But I mean, everyone made everything back then. So we grew up
yes.
with Concord grapes in the yard on the farm in Ohio. And
Mm.
I do know that my great grandpa was making wine there, but it wasn't as much of being a winemaker as it was, we need wine to drink. So we're going to make some wine.
Oh, we can make wine anywhere. I promise you.
Exactly.
If we need it, we're gonna make it. No,
Yes, exactly.
that is super cool.
Yeah.
What a sentimental and fantastic person to, think
Yeah.
about. I love that. And here's another question I have for you. You're watching a lot of your colleagues, young winemakers right now on their journeys.
Yeah.
If you could give advice to someone who is just, starting college and is thinking about doing this in the future, in a couple of sentences, what advice could you give them?
I would say think about the reasons that you want to go into wine, um, and do it because you love it and you love the process. Um, if you don't love the process and like creating something, then I think that having the hard times
Right.
are, you might not make it through if you don't have that passion and that drive to keep you going. So I I would just say do it because you love it. And I think that that's the most important thing, because if it's because you want to make money, it's a very large investment. So it's like
Hmm.
when you start off in the beginning, you really do need to invest, and it's a long time before it would come out. So I would say think about the process and what it is every day, instead of just, I want to be a winemaker.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds glitzy and
Yeah.
exciting but it's so much work, I would think, and you've got to be there for the long haul, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's a long haul to get there. You might pick grapes for a harvest and then not see a penny for 2 years from that
Right.
investment. So, you
Yeah.
really have to enjoy the process.
And right now, you're not full time in the wine world. You're doing a little bit of little cocktail making, little bit of this and that right now, or
Yeah.
are you doing harvest
Well,
stuff? What are you up to?
yeah, I would still consider myself full time in wine, but so working on my own label right now, and then I do work for Arnott Roberts, but that's just during harvest season, so about 4 days
Hmm.
a week. But I do make cocktails. I bartend as well in
Good.
the evening. So during the day, usually I try to go see accounts and stuff like that, and do wine sales and the business side of things.
Yes.
And then, of course, during harvest, get in and then bartending as well. So lots of hats, lots of hats.
Lots of hats and all of them necessary. I love it. What do you think the wine industry needs to do better to connect with the younger generation that we keep talking about right now, that
Mhm.
obviously don't want to drink as much wine as
Yeah.
my generation did, not yours. Um, what do you think is going on there? What do they need to do better to actually be able to sell their wine?
I think it's not something that any one producer is going to be able to do. And even as an industry, I'm not sure that we can, decide that we want young people to drink more wine. But I think that making wine approachable to people and letting people process of making wine like snobby is one of the
Right.
best things that you can do. When I was
Love it.
young, I was deterred by it, just seemed so foreign to me, and I thought that people were making it hard to understand, but
Yeah.
that's why like wine folly and things as well, because it does make it really approachable. There's in wine aside from just drinking it in the glass. So your title is perfect, beyond the pour. It's not just about that. You
Yeah.
know, farming. And maybe it's just become because I come from an agricultural family that, but to me, wine is like the only agricultural product that you really show a place and time in history for years to come.
Yes.
You don't age beer like you age wine. You can't
Yeah.
age a white claw and
Right?
drink
Yeah.
beer and get that romantic feeling that you get from wine. Um, I think that when I grew up and everything was such a huge part of it because you understand of the food and the sourcing of the wine and everything and that whole big picture.
And I want to ask you, for your Aligoté, what's your favorite pairing? And also for your Cabernet Franc. You personally. I know people can, play with
Um,
whatever.
yeah, the Aligoté, it's so funny off that I haven't tested out with so many pairings right now, but off the top of my head, I'm like chicken
Chicken
because it
what?
has
Sorry,
that
I lost you again. Chicken.
piccata,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
piccata,
Yeah, chicken piccata. Nice.
because it has
Nice.
that rich, yeah, but it has that richness, but also the brightness at this a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of that
Mm-hmm.
salty kind of minerality as well. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
would be a really nice pairing. Cap Franc, I think, loves lamb. So
Oh.
I love a braised lamb dish with the with
What about
yeah.
I love that idea. What about turkey? I think turkey for
Oh yeah.
Thanksgiving, your wine, your Cab Franc, because it's so light. Uh, usually we'll do Pinot Noir or we'll do Gamay or something. I
Yeah.
think your Cab Franc
Yeah.
would be awesome for this Thanksgiving. And where can people find you? Where can they walk into? Is there anywhere they can walk in to grab some wine? So some of your balls.
Yeah, so definitely a really great wine shop there. If you're
Say it
just
again.
talking
Where
picking
was
up
it? Which wine shop?
Tiburon,
Oh, in
Tiburon
Tiburon.
wine.
Yes. Want Tiburon wine.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So if you just want to do retail, I just was in Napa, so they'll be picking it up soon as well. So if you're looking for retail, that would be a good spot to find it. Other spots are mostly restaurants, so definitely A16,
Yeah.
Enclos. But if you're looking for a bottle, through schemawines.com as well.
Just go into schemawines.com and guess what? They might get you, the winemaker, if it's close enough, Sonoma Napa dudes, peeps, I should say. Um, you may drop it off yourself. And how exciting is that?
Yeah.
To have the winemaker come over and they get to meet you. I love it. I have some balls downstairs, but I just didn't get a chance to grab them today. But I did open an aligoté and a Cab Franc, and they were both just delightful, really beautiful.
I'm so
So we love
to
them.
them.
Well, listen, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I feel like we're gonna have to come back and see what you're up to in a few months, because the places that are carrying your wine, the Enclos and the A16 and places like that, you're only going to get into a bunch more amazing restaurants, I'm sure, as the word gets out. So
Yeah.
it's amazing to watch your journey.
been so nice to share it with someone who appreciates wine and another professional. It's just the thing, so it means a lot to be part of your podcast.
Thank you so much for joining me on Beyond the Pour, Madeline. And for anyone that's listening to this, please do like, please subscribe. I feel like I have to keep saying it, but that's the only way we can grow. So you'll find us on YouTube, on Spotify now, and honestly, just reach out. So we are looking forward to you guys listening to this wonderful story of Madelyn Hille from Schema Wines. Thank you. Appreciate you having some time with me.
Cheers.